Hi, everyone. Today we are here to do NFL draft talk. I promised I'd do this for an hour. I've been getting a lot of questions from people. Now that I'm on 97.1 The Eagle, I know we don't do as much sports as we were doing over at the Fan, but we still do some. And I started working on the draft before I even left the Fan. It's kind of already started working on players in October, really. So still do the players, still do the draft show for DallasCowboys.com. So and I'll be a part of their coverage for the NFL draft. Not sure on the specifics yet, but for sure night one I'll be a part of the DallasCowboys.com coverage on the draft show. And I also do the About Them Cowboys podcast on The Athletic. So still doing draft stuff, still highly invested in that stuff, still spend a lot of time on that stuff. But I got a bunch of questions from people, and really I've got a bunch of questions for the last couple weeks. So I thought I would just kind of run through these things, and let's just talk about the draft in a fun way and kind of get things going. Part of the reason I'm doing this is because I'm jonesing. I'm excited and ready to talk about this stuff and start doing the draft. So we will go from there. Let's start with the basics. Cowboys pick number 17 in the draft. What do they need? They need offensive guard center, maybe. I think between Connor Williams, Connor McGovern, and Joe Looney, you're going to assume that you're okay there, but it should be interesting to see how they handle that. I just did one of my least favorite things, the sports broadcasting trope of saying should be interesting. Sorry. Randall Cobb goes to Houston, so they need that. They need slot wide receiver, right? Wide receiver 3. Yeah, kind of need that. Cornerback is clear. You need that. You have Cheeto. You have Jordan Lewis. You have Anthony Brown, which I think that was the best free agent signing of maybe any team all year. For Anthony Brown, for the money that they paid him, was excellent value. Let me get a copy link to share. All right, hold on one second. Hold on. Whoop. Defensive end. I mean, Aldon Smith and Randy Gregory, to me, you cannot act like they are on the roster. To me, they need to be treated as if they're not on the team right now. And, technically they're not. I realize Randy Gregory hasn't been reinstated, and I know that Aldon Smith, I mean, if you look at that contract, I loved it. No money guaranteed. To me, that makes a lot of sense. If you want to leave questions or anything like that in the comment box, you can do that. I'll be taking a look at that. I've been taking questions on Twitter as well. And also on the Ben and Skin Fans Facebook page, which you could go follow that. I think that'd be great. The Ben and Skin Fans Facebook page would be a great place to just go follow that. I put up a post there, and I'm going to actually start with their questions. They got about 10 or so, maybe a few more will come in. And we'll start with those questions, and we'll just kind of go from there. We can talk about my position rankings if y'all want to go there too. I've kind of getting pretty close on the board. I know that Skin and Broadus have left a draft question, and I'll go back and check my Twitter in a minute, find out the other draft questions. Today's drink of choice is going to be the Pedicolis Beer Velvet Hammer. Yes, one of probably one of the more famous beers in our city of Dallas. So the Velvet Hammer. Always like good Pedicolis and Velvet Hammer. I'm going to enjoy that right now, and then we'll start talking draft. Oh. All right. Let's see here. We'll start out with the comments from the Ben and Skin Facebook page. Then we'll go to Twitter. And then I'll end it by looking at the questions from anyone who's watching on YouTube, because I got a couple of those on there right now. But we'll start with the Facebook questions first. Michael Prado, what are your thoughts on Texas safety Brandon Jones? Brandon Jones is not one of. Well, first of all, the safety class in general is not terribly deep. It's not terribly deep most years, but there is a drop off at some point. Brandon Jones is on the cusp. I do think he is an NFL player. Came in at 5'11", 198. What I would say about Brandon Jones, and I'm pulling up my notes while I look at that. What I would say about Brandon Jones on my board, I have him as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. He's the 8th graded safety for me. I have a 4th round grade on him. To me, my issues with him, and I'm going to pull up my notes so I don't look like an idiot here. There it is. There's a bunch of Joneses in this draft, of course. My thoughts on Brandon Jones, to me, I did have worries about him in coverage. To me, he's more of a strong safety than a free. I don't think his instincts are there. But he does have a little bit of range. He can tackle a little bit. I need to see more instincts on the back end. I'm trying to think of the game that came to my mind. It might have been that first LSU game. There was a play where he was, he got his eyes got caught in the backfield, and you got beat on the wheel route, and you're sitting there going, okay, well, that can't happen. I can't have any hesitations with you looking back. I'm sorry, that was the Oklahoma State game. And he got beat by Chuba on the wheel route, and it's like, come on. But like the LSU game, same turn and run, stride to stride with Justin Jefferson. I think the speed's there. The combine time on him, I had him at 4.45. The combine time on him, he didn't run at the combine because of the medicals. So that's going to be a situation to maybe keep an eye on there as well. So he had a broken rib at the end of the year, so he had to worry about that. But to me, I have big questions about how quickly he sees the game. And if I'm putting you back there at free safety, that's a problem. If I got you moving towards the line of scrimmage and seeing things in front of you, that makes a lot of sense for you to be like a strong safety type, special teams guy, because I do think he can run. So I like Brandon Jones okay, but I'm not spending a top 100 pick on him. I kind of have a 4th round grade on him, and I think that's probably a good area for him. We'll see how fast the safeties start flying off the board in this draft. Michael Prado also on Facebook, he had a double dip on the question. He said, if you're choosing between CeeDee Lamb or C.J. Henderson at 17, who do you go with and why? I have CeeDee Lamb graded higher, but for this team, I think you got to go C.J. Henderson. I think the lack of a cornerback 1 type is scary. Cheeto Jordan, C.J. Goodwin, Anthony Brown, that's, maybe we survive the day, but I think you got to go C.J. Henderson over CeeDee Lamb, and a part of that is I really like the depth of the wide receiver class. That's something you'll hear me say if you tune in for this whole hour. One thing you'll hear me say many times is I like the depth of the wide receiver class more than maybe any wide receiver class since I've been doing this. But I would be surprised if Lamb and Henderson are there. I really doubt Lamb and Henderson are there at 17. Just put it that way. I really don't see that happening. Maybe there's a chance. I'm interested to see where the league and these teams fall on the cornerback position. For me, cornerback 2 is Gladney. But I think for the league, it's Henderson. I saw Daniel Jeremiah had a tweet today. Said the league feels pretty good about the top 4 wide receivers and the top 2 cornerbacks. After that, who knows? And I can easily see that. I think that makes quite a bit of sense. Either way, at 17, the Cowboys need offensive tackles to go, and they need quarterbacks to go. They need 4 quarterbacks to go. They need 4 offensive tackles to go. I think that opens the door for getting a player that you have your eyes on. And, I don't know where we're at now, but a week ago, kind of been given the hint that Kayvon Chason, the defensive end from LSU, and C.J. Henderson, the cornerback from Florida, are the apple of the Cowboys' eyes at 17. Again, I'll be going through the Facebook comments and questions first, then I'll go to the tweets, and then I'll go to the YouTube channel. So if you're on the YouTube box and you're subscribing to my channel, keep pumping those questions in, and I'll make sure to get to them. David Burden on the Ben and Skin Fans Facebook page says, "Is Isaiah Simmons really Darren Woodson 2.0, or is the hype impossible to live up to?" To me, that's not a good comparison. To me, Isaiah Simmons is a little different. He is the jack of all trades type, and I know Darren Woodson could come up and lay the lumber, and he could cover. I understand that, but Isaiah Simmons is a little more of a freaky athlete. I mean, we're talking about a guy who is like legitimately could go cover outside, could go cover in the slot, can cover naturally, take away a tight end. Like, there's just so many options. If you have a creative defensive coordinator, Isaiah Simmons makes a lot of sense. I don't know if he is the sure thing, game-changing prospect that people think, but I think he is super complementary to what your defense is doing. And I think what you have in stock at defense really matters before you just draft him and plug it in. If you're going to draft him and play the Rod Marinelli-style defense that the Cowboys have played over the last few years, I'm not sure that makes a lot of sense, where everyone's just got an assignment. But if you're doing a lot of things, you're blitzing more, you're being exotic as a defense, Isaiah Simmons makes sense. And that's the reason you'll see him gone, in the first 5, 6, 7, 8 picks. Another drink? James Espinosa, your top 3 choices for pick 17. Really tough question to answer because I got to know who's on the board. But I can tell you the Cowboys have, good thoughts on Chase on. They have good thoughts on C.J. Henderson, the cornerback from Florida. And I'm interested to see how they feel about Javon Kinlaw, the defensive tackle by South Carolina. To me, I know you signed Gerald McCoy and Don Terry Poe, but that does not prohibit you from drafting Javon Kinlaw if he's there. Kinlaw is kind of my dream right there at 17 if he were to get there. But it's going to be tough sledding for him to get there. Russell Gatlin, what grade do you have Justin Matabuke? It's the defensive tackle from Texas A&M. He said he was a blast to watch in college, and the way through he ran Georgia offensive lineman was grown man strength. I knew he was gone after that last game. So Matabuke, I really like. I have a second-round grade on Matabuke. And I think what you're going to see right there is there's some decent defensive tackle depth, but I just don't know how many of these guys make it to 51. Neville Gallimore, Oklahoma. Ross Blacklock, TCU. Right there for me. I have got Matabuke up in the mix. He's to me a notch below Ross Blacklock and Neville Gallimore. But for Matabuke, he's a guy that would make sense anywhere. He's had 16 visits. At least half the league is in on him. Let's put it that way. I want to pull up my notes so I get the numbers accurate, because if that happens, and Justin Matabuke, really good player. 10.5 tackles for a loss, 5.5 sacks in 2018, 5.5 sacks again in 2019. Good consistent production at Texas A&M. Another thing that I would say about him, I'm trying to, once again, pull up my notes, get my times right. Sorry, guys. Here they are. I have him at 6'2", 293. Ran a 4.83 at the combine. From McKinney North, also, by the way. Here's what my notes say on Justin Matabuke. Offers position flex, can play the 1 or the 3 technique defensive tackle. I think he's a better player against the run than he is the pass. And I'd like to see a little more quickness, a little more snap to the game. But he's a guy who understands leverage. I think he keeps his pad level low. I think he fires off the line of scrimmage. And I think he uses his hands well. And that's very important on the defensive line, that you have good, powerful hands and you use them well. So if you look at those types of things, we've seen him toss some offensive linemen, as the comment said. Justin Matabuke, pick 51 for the Cowboys. I would love that. But I really think he's a guy who goes in the 30s. And, completely, I got to be honest, I don't think I'd completely be surprised if he went at the back end of the first. I really don't think that would surprise me. So, Justin Matabuke, player to keep an eye on. Let's see, back to questions. Matabuke from Texas A&M, by the way. With the draft seeming to this is from Shane Marino. With the draft seeming to be loaded with talent, do you trade the 17th for multiple picks and stock up on talent? Um, I mean, if you can trade back, I think that's good. I think the question you have to ask yourself is, who are people trading up for? Maybe people are trading up for Jordan Love. I think Herbert, Tua, and Burrow are all gone. Who is the player that fell that people are going to be trading up for at 17? And I don't know. Like, if it's Caleb Chason, I think you just sit there and take him, right? So the trade back idea is always fun, not to mention how weird trading is going to be in this draft given the situation that we're in with the pandemic. I just don't know. I think it's always been the easiest thing to say in draft talk is to go, well, you just trade back. Well, that's easy to say, but, well, I'll just go buy a house. Well, it's easy to say, but I don't have money. So I always think that's kind of an interesting thing when you're thinking about trading back. I just think you got to be careful what you wish for when it comes to trading back. If you sit there at 17, you get a good player, let's go ahead and just take the good player, move it along. And by the way, the history of Will McClay as the guy running the draft for the Cowboys tells you usually just sit there and pick it. I know they went back for Travis, but usually with the first round, they're usually just going to sit there. They're going to sit still, and they're going to get a good player. And I think that'll happen. Sorry about the yawns, guys. The beers have started. It's just, it's what's going to happen. But to me, the bind is what happens if Kinlaw's gone, Chason's gone, C.J. Henderson's gone. How much do I like the cornerback, the safety, the wide receiver? You can have all these questions. How much do I like the next defensive end? And that's where you kind of get into a bind with this draft is how do you feel about the other defensive ends? Because I don't know. That's going to be a tough position in terms of gauging where they're going to go in the draft. Generally, teams will pay up for a pass rusher, a corner, or a quarterback. I don't know if that's what's going to happen in this draft at 17. I think you got to be prepared to sit in there and make your selection. All right, that wraps up the Facebook comment questions. We'll now go over to the Twitter. Let me check doing a great job over here on the comments on the box on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. We're now going to the Twitter portion of this. I think what I need to do is probably pull that up, go to my mentions. Yep. Maybe I don't need to go to my mentions. Maybe I need to do something else. Notifications. There it is. All right, we're going to go over here. We're just going to move it on down the road. Hold on one second here. Where are they at? This guy says, these are the 11 options for the Cowboys in round one. The ones highlighted are the most probable ones. Okay, let me click on that thing and see. Highlighted are most probable. He says C.J. Henderson, Javon Kinlaw, Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Judy's the wide receiver from Alabama. I like him, and I would love the Cowboys to take him. He can play in the slot. He and Amari Cooper can kind of switch off in the slot, and Gallup can kind of stay outside. So I like that. Chase Young is not going to be there. Okudah, we can write that off. Isaiah Simmons, we can write that off. And then, you need Okudah, Simmons, or Derek Brown to fall is what you need. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of SOL when it comes to your pick at 17. If Henderson goes, if Kinlaw goes, and you don't want to go wide receiver. That's the kind of thing I've got in my head is this team, and normally they roadmap the draft pretty good. What's the question that they say, okay, we got wiped out with these helping positions on defense. So what do we do now? I don't know. Trade back? No, I think what you need to do is just take the best player graded. And if that's an offensive tackle, it's an offensive tackle. And if the fans get worked up over that, it doesn't matter. But guess what, guys? Tyron Smith's not going to play forever. So things that you got to remember here. Also, and I'm not being too dark here, there is a chance that there's no football this year. And if that's the case, I'm keeping my 2021 draft picks because I don't know how the draft's going to go down in 2021, and I want to keep as many of those picks as I can because I don't want to do a lottery, but that might happen. And I don't want to run back the draft order from this year, so I'm keeping my 2021 picks. Sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there. Let me go ahead and check my stream. Just making sure. All right. Wow, 20 minutes. All right. We're going to keep grinding here. Next question. Moving down. Got a bunch of likes and retweets. That's always good news. Vida Soroy following me. Very nice. Very simply, John M. Fowler, Chason, or C.J. Henderson. For me, it's Chason, but it's close. It's very close, but I think I would go Chason. KT, will you be posting your draft board? I use yours to follow to the draft. Yes, I will. That's from @JTNF. I absolutely do. Let me see here if I can pull it up. I'm not sure if I have the share screen option, but I hope I do. Let's see here. We're gonna take a chance here. Ooh, yeah, there it is. So there's what my board looks like right now. I gotta move it, and so wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. Wide receivers, Jefferson, Rager, Higgins, Mims, Ayuk, Hamler, Shenault. You keep going, and you see how crowded wide receiver gets. One thing I think you'll see on my draft board, I will put it out. I put it out 1 week before, so next Thursday is the day I'll go for. Usually, me and Broadus and Jeff Kavanaugh would go post our draft board, but this year, now that I no longer work at the Fan, that probably won't be happening. But I'll probably print that out, take pictures, share it online on Thursday. I appreciate that question. Thank you very much. It's at JT Enough. Aiden says, hold on here. I got some Brahms breakfast burrito tweets in here. Nick Nepic was really championing the honey butter chicken biscuit from Whataburger. I said, don't sleep on the ultimate beef and cheese breakfast burrito at Sonic with no eggs. Don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on that. Okay. Let's see here. Is that Matt Ride? Oh, yeah, it's at Matt Ride. Matt Ridenhour's burner account. Do you think this year is going to hurt the small school players with the corona and whatnot? It absolutely is. There's a lot of guys who did not get to go to the combine, didn't get invited, and then pro days kind of getting wiped out for some schools. Private workouts. It'll be the Cowboys, for instance. I can't stop yawning when I start drinking beers, especially big, heavy 9% beers like the V-Ham, Velvet Hammer. The Cowboys had so many Dallas Day guys, and Dallas Day is a workout where all the local schools, so TCU, SMU, UNT, can come work out at the Cowboys facility, along with players who went to high school in the area. And I'm telling you, this year they were going to be loaded at Dallas Day and weren't going to have to spend their 30 picks on those. So, with all the TCU guys or whatever, but small school guys are going to get. It's just going to be rough. I saw one front office guy say we should do a 10-round draft, and honestly, he's right for two reasons. One, more margin for error on drafting when you have a little fewer information or a little less information than you normally do. Two, give these unrestricted free agents a chance. The guys that don't get drafted, give them a chance. Three, it's going to be full chaos for right after the draft signing guys who are undrafted because everyone's working from home and Zooming, and I just think it opens up the door to some kind of foul play, I guess is what I would say, when it comes to the draft ending and chaos happening with players and agents on the phone trying to find a job right after the draft. Normally that's done from a command center. Now it's done separately and everyone in different houses. So I think that's going to be That's going to be a big aspect of this. Here we go. What can you get in exchange for Jalen? Probably nothing right now, Alfredo. Who are the players' teams you think would be targeted in a trade down situation for the Cowboys? I always look for teams that have multiple picks, Toddy. So let's think about this. The Vikings have the 22 and 25 pick. The Dolphins have 3 picks in the first round. The Jags have 2 picks in the first round. The Raiders have 2 picks in the first round. So you have all these teams that have multiple first-round picks, and there's the first place I look. Another thing I think I would say that I'm looking at is if I am picking for the Patriots at pick 23 and I'm getting a little nervous, I might trade up to 17 and go get Jordan Love, the quarterback from Utah State. So it'll be interesting to see how kind of did it for the 9th time. It'll be interesting to see. But I guess what I'm saying is he could go anywhere between 10 and 30, 10 and 35, and I would not be surprised. I think the window for Jordan Love of Utah State it's a pretty big one at this point. Twitter. From Anthony Swanson, do you think the Cowboys have interest in A.J. Terrell? That's a cornerback from Clemson. If they consider Diggs at 17, then possibly they view Terrell there too. I'm a big fan of his. Yeah, Anthony, A.J. Terrell's a good player. I think maybe has a bit of a... oh my God, I'm just seeing breaking news that Sturgill Simpson has tested positive for COVID-19. That is... Oh, it's just brutal. Sorry, I got derailed there. I have no clue how they feel about A.J. Terrell, though. I've got no feelers on that. I do know that the league likes A.J. Terrell. I think if you want to get messy with some betting, and I'm not responsible for any of your lost wagers, but I think you definitely should put a first-rounder on A.J. Terrell. I think someone will draft him in the first round. Let me get off a retweet about Sturgill real quick. I do think they probably like Trevon Diggs, the cornerback of Alabama, over Fulton, the cornerback of LSU. I do think that. And I think they should. I've got Diggs graded quite a bit higher than Fulton. Back to Twitter. Like. This is from Ben Rorvik, at Benny the Jet 24 on Twitter. After the top 3 wide receivers, how do you grade the next group of guys as it fits for Dallas? I can see the Cowboys drafting a wide receiver at least by the 4th and 5th round. I really don't think you have a need at wide receiver. I think you'd like a guy who can play inside just because that's where Cobb went, but I don't think you have to. But a lot of these guys can do both. You know, it's not just a thing where some guys can't line up inside. A lot of these guys can. My wide receiver rankings. Let's run through them real quick here. Lamb, Judy Ruggs. Jefferson from LSU. Rager from TCU. Higgins from Clemson. Denzel Mims, Baylor. Brandon Ayuk, Arizona State. KJ Hamler, Penn State. And then Laviska Shenault of Colorado. Jefferson's going to be awesome. Rager, I just feel like he's more of a late first, early second round guy. I don't think it makes sense for where the Cowboys are drafting. T. Higgins, I don't have really good vibe. He could pull a DK Metcalf situation, and I wouldn't be surprised. Denzel Mims of Baylor showed that he's a little bit better route runner than people thought at the Senior Bowl. Really like him. I think he's destined for a little bit of breakout action, and if he's in a good atmosphere with structure, I feel good about Denzel Mims in the league. Ayuk, Hamler, Shenault. Let's keep moving on down. Round 3, sorry. Michael Pittman, one of the most reliable wide receivers in this draft. Devin Duvernay, KJ Hill, John Hightower, Lynn Bowden Jr. Those are guys who I think are better fits for the Cowboys. Duvernay you can put in the slot, tough, gets the job done, will catch everything, good target for Dak underneath. I love Devin Duvernay. KJ Hill doesn't have the best explosion, the best numbers and measurables at the combine, but he's reliable, get open. John Hightower is more of a toy. He's a guy you can kind of put in motion. He can win deep. He's a good return guy, but his speed is his biggest asset there. And then Lynn Bowden Jr., kind of the jack of all trades of Kentucky. You can hand him the ball. You can put him in the wing. You can put him in the slot. You can play him outside. So much you can do with Lynn Bowden Jr. if you want to get creative. Van Jefferson's a really good route runner, but he's got a foot injury. He's from Florida. Colin Johnson, very familiar, Texas. Another name to watch there is James Prochet from SMU. And to me, some of the best hands in this draft. So James Prochet of SMU makes a lot of sense as well. But just as you can tell, look, I got 6 guys with, fifth-round grades on. Busy wide receiver draft that we've got cooking here. Good question, Ben. Thank you. Kyle Stapleton, 88. K-Stape 88 is his name on Twitter. But Kyle Stapleton, 88, is where you can go follow him. Does anyone agree with me that Herbert may be the best quarterback to have success in the league? I don't, Kyle. I mean, to me, it's either Tua or Burrow, and I know that's an easy cop-out, but Tua's talent is unbelievable, and I think he's a top 5 pick. I don't think the medicals are going to scare anyone off, depending on what medicals you get, right? I can only speak for the medicals that I have, but there could be a hidden injury underneath happening, but, man, I just don't see how you run away from Tua. I like Herbert. I think Herbert's sitting behind a guy. I think Herbert with the LA Chargers behind Tyrod Taylor makes a lot of sense. I really like that. At least that's just me. Let's keep the tweets going. Would you take Diggs over Chason? I would not take Trevon Diggs, the cornerback from Alabama, over Chason. Anyway, this is Andy Knipe. Anyway, we should be crossing our fingers, or is there anyone we should be crossing our fingers for in the later rounds, like in drafts past? Anthony Brown, Xavier Woods. Yeah, at cornerback, there's 2 guys that I want to throw out there. It's Reggie Robinson, cornerback from Tulsa, big taller guy, and the other one is more of a tiny guy. It's Amik Robertson. He's a cornerback from Louisiana Tech. He had 14 interceptions in 3 years. He plays tough. He's small. He's a little guy. He's tiny, and he's got a groin issue. Maybe that pushes him down. If Amik Robertson's there in the fifth round, go get it. I think you go make some noise there. I think it's a good player to go get. Also some other names. I mean, I think right now it's what competition. Like, it's Anthony Brown, it's Cheeto, it's Jordan Lewis. They're going to add someone to that. But for me, I have Okudah, Gladney, Henderson. That's kind of where I'm at. Let's kind of move it over here. Cornerback. Okudah, Gladney, Henderson, my corners. My safeties, Trevon Diggs, A.J. Terrell, Reggie Robinson over Fulton. And I know that's going to make a lot of people roll over in their grades, but that's where I'm at, graves and grades. Noah Igbenogany from Auburn over Cameron Dantzler. Love Cameron Dantzler's tape. Shocked the world when he ran really slow at the combine, but then claims to have a 4.3 something pro day. So if he got 0.3 of a second faster in about 2 months, more power to him. But I like Cameron Dantzler. I think he plays hard. I think he plays the right way. I think he's good. Let's see here. Damon Arnett, 4th round. Jalen Johnson's going to go. I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Johnson went in the 1st round. I was not impressed overall with his tape, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 1st or 2nd round. Troy Pride from Notre Dame, kind of a smaller guy. Bryce Hall from Virginia, a guy who's had some injury questions. And then you have Michael Ohemudia from Iowa. So pretty decent depth at cornerback, if we're being honest. And in fact, I'll tell you this in the next one. Darnay Holmes from UCLA, Dane Jackson from Pitt, 2 Senior Bowl guys. John Reed from Penn State, Josiah Scott from Michigan State, Stanford Samuels. I mean, look, there's enough cornerbacks there in this draft to to make you whole, I guess. And if that means not paying Byron what you paid him, then I think you can go get a cornerback in this draft. Excuse me while I take another sip. Gonna keep answering Twitter questions here. Let me take that off for a minute. Back to me. There it is. I wish I had music in the background. Sorry, guys. Just pump up the new Strokes album behind this, and you guys could enjoy that. A prospect that I think, this is from Junior Vela, a prospect that I think has a chance to fall out of the first that no one sees coming. AJ Epinesa, defensive end from Iowa. I think he's a guy who might have been considered at 17 early on in the process. I think there's a guy who could kind of fall out of the first round, and you'd be like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Broadus, how do you separate Hurts, Eason, Fromm? To me, it's based on what your depth chart is at quarterback, what you are feeling about the future of your team. To me, I'm not wasting a pick on Jake Fromm. I think he's a guy who's topped out. With Eason, he has all the things Fromm doesn't have and lacks all the things Fromm does have. Quick mental processing, but also I've got a rocket arm, which Fromm does not have. So, Eason's so different. As for Hurts, I just think I could kind of view Hurts as kind of a best-case scenario. He's Dak Prescott from a value standpoint. That's not a comparison to the player. From a value standpoint, he goes in the 4th round, he gets in camp, and he can contribute to a team if asked. Because I do think he does have that intangible, but I just don't think he processes things down the field fast enough. So I would have it as Eason from Hurts for me, but that just depends if you're in the business of having a backup quarterback to develop or having a backup quarterback to go win you games. If my guy gets hurt, I think there's a big difference in how teams view that. At Bonsai 68. Oh, never mind. Sorry. That was something else about breakfast. Would you trade up in the second? That's from Rick Gonzalez. Man, I just got to know who's there, Rick. That's going to be tough. I really don't know. Jim Smith says, I say pick the Javelin kid from Utah at safety. 6th or 7th round special teams player. Yeah, I mean, he's talking about Javelin Guidry. I think he's more of a cornerback than a safety. 7th round? Yeah, sure. But, nothing outstanding about Javelin Griving or Haviland Guidry from the outside looking in. I'm watching some of that tape. Didn't go nuts over it, but, made enough plays to where I said, he can go on the back end of my draft board. OBS here. Let me just check YouTube. All right. I'm going to go 45 minutes, so we'll go 8 more minutes. I'm going to hit the speed round. If Henderson or Chase Hunter are gone at 17, do you see the Cowboys trading back and grabbing one of the other corners? I think if they got wiped out, they would definitely be trying to move back. I think the question is, how much do they like Trevon Diggs? I know they like Diggs more than Fulton. How much do they like Trevon Diggs? How much do they like Jeff Gladney, the cornerback from TCU? How much do they like A.J. Terrell, the cornerback from Clemson? Those are the things that we have to find out in the next couple weeks. Daniel Dessinger. Why does Dallas re-sign the Cooper Rush instead of drafting? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they've continued to ignore the backup quarterback position. Jeff Skinwade says, does the league-wide evaluation and where the Cowboys draft give you confidence that a good starting secondary player exists for this team in the first few rounds? Yes. At cornerback, I think you can get a starter at 17, possibly at 51. And I think at safety, you can get a starter at 17, 51, and possibly 82. We'll see how the Cowboys how they now take the safety position. Are they going to take it seriously with a new defensive coordinator and Mike Nolan? That I don't know. Let's go ahead while we're here. I'll show you again the top of my safety ratings. That should do it right there. I still have a first round grade on Delpit. I just like the size, the speed, the ability to cover. I know tackling is a question mark, but I don't think Delpit's going to let you down. And I think he's around more plays than he is that cost you. I love Antoine Winfield Jr. of Minnesota. Then you're going to have Xavier McKinney from Alabama. Then Ashton Davis of California. And then in the third round, you have from Lenore-Ryan, it's Kyle Duggar. And from, is that Northern or Southern Illinois? It's Jeremy Chin. Sorry, I'd like to apologize to those schools that you probably have down. Jeremy Chin. Terrell Burgess of Utah, Brandon Jones of Texas, Kevon Wallace. I mean, there's a lot of safeties, and I do think, depending on how fast the cornerbacks run off, I do think the Cowboys can get a starter in the secondary. I don't know if they're looking for a starter at safety. Clinton Dix, Darian Thompson is there, and Xavier Woods. I'm not sure how much they're looking at a safety. Knowing them, it's hard to really know. Ben Rogers says you don't have the balls to do a draft video today on your YouTube channel. Check out these nuts then. Ivan Dominguez. Are we worried that if Jerry is at home alone during draft, he goes rogue and hangs up on everyone and drafts or trades who he wants? Fair question that I've thought about in the back of my mind, but I've refused to take seriously yet. But, it's kind of possible, right? It is possible. This is from Lieutenant Maroney at Goofy Deer. Why do you think people are starting to project Herbert falling so far, and do you buy it? I do not buy him falling. I do not buy that. If you were to trade up from 17, who would be the target? I think the guys that you trade up for at 17 would be Okudah, Simmons, or Derek Brown. I think those are your three guys. Raymond Gillespie, day 2-3 linebackers that can develop into guys that can play 70% of the snaps. I do have those guys. I mean, first of all, day 2, you say, at linebacker. Akeem Davis-Gaither from Appalachian State, Malik Harrison from Ohio State, Evan Weaver, California, Troy Dye, Oregon. I guarantee you that Evan Weaver in California, that feels like lunch pail type guy. Tape not exciting, but a work hard guy. So, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's what we're talking about. Dalton Miller. Who's your favorite small school running back that isn't being talked about enough? By small school with Dalton's excellent. With small school running back, I assume that we're talking really small school. And if that's the case, we're not talking about Appalachian State, right? I love the Appalachian State running back. I think that's a good little player right there. Darrington Evans is his name. But yeah, I don't know when I'm talking about my running backs, and I'll pull up my running back board, and I will show you. You gonna take it? You gonna take that running back board? There it is. DeAndre Swift, who the Cowboys did meet with. J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss is from Utah. Cam Akers, my only third-round back. Fourth-round backs, Antonio Gibson. Anthony McFarland, not a small school in Maryland, but I love him. Benjamin, Darrington Evans, Kylan Hill, Jermichael Hastings, J.J. Taylor. So I wouldn't call them a small school. But I like what I have right there at the back end on running back. Running back's surprisingly deep. I know we've talked about this stuff. Surprisingly deep at running back. Checking on my YouTube. Almost 45 minutes. Okay, I'll run into the YouTube comments. I'll do a couple more Twitter questions, and then I'll move on to the YouTube questions, and then we'll get out of here. Sorry, everyone. I feel like I get tagged in so much stuff on Twitter, and all of a sudden I can't find them. All right, let's just do the YouTube comments then. It's going to be like that. We'll go to the top. Am I the only one that is worried the Cowboys might draft Kenneth Murray at 17? That's Dylan Hoffman. I think they do like Kenneth Murray, and I think they would take him if they dried out and what they like. And I think it's an insurance policy for Van Der Esch and Jalen. So, to me, just take your best player. Who's the best player on the board? That's what I want you to take. Dylan Hoffman always says, what are your thoughts on Lamar Jackson, the cornerback from Nebraska? I think he could be an intriguing day 3 cornerback with good traits. For me, Lamar Jackson is you're right on day 3, but I have a 6th or 7th round grade on him. He was a Senior Bowl guy, started 3 years at Nebraska, good length at 6'2", 206, but I just don't think he is very flexible, and I think that's going to get him beat. He's a competitive player. He tries hard, which is better than what some people do, but it's, I was thinking about, I got sidetracked there. Hold on. I'm reading too much crap while I'm trying to talk. Lamar Jackson. There's my notes. Here it is. Competitive, went up against good competition, good ball tracker, 3 interceptions. Competitive player, will try to come up and play the run. But I want a better athlete. I don't know what his time was at the combine. I have a 4.58 time on that for Lamar Jackson, the cornerback from Nebraska. Whoop! 4.58 at the combine. Yeah, so I was right. I'm not a huge fan. Round 6, round 7, maybe we could talk about that. Good question on Twitter real quick that I got from Val and Realty. Val, good people out there. Val, any word if they're going to give team an extra time to make the picks in the later rounds? I don't think so. I don't know on that, though. I don't think they're going to change the way they do things there. Kenneth Murray at linebacker, I do think they would take those. A couple good questions from Dylan Hoffman. Alfred Salinas, now with the pandemic rules, do you think teams are doing conditional trades before the draft just to be ready? I don't know if they're doing conditional trades, but I would say they're going to be... I think teams are going to be more skeptical about making trades. I think teams are going to want to keep their 2021 draft picks in case there's no football and there's a lottery draft next year. And B, I just think getting trades approved and communicating with that many people is going to be a little more different than usual. Sankara Lakshman. Sankara Lakshmanan. I hope I got your name right. I'm sorry. What do you think about trading up to 14 to get C.J. Henderson? I don't want to do that. I think I could stay where I'm at without going up. If I'm dead set on Henderson, if I'm trading up for a cornerback, I'm trading up for Okudah. I'm not trading up for Henderson. That's kind of where I feel on that. So I'll just stay at 17. And again, big responsibility over the next 10 days to try to really find out how they feel about Jeff Gladney of TCU and how they feel about A.J. Terrell of Clemson. Renee Ponder, what do you think of Gallimore and where's the best spot for him to be taken? I love Neville Gallimore. Wouldn't surprise me if he went late first, early second round. I have a second round grade on him. Nearly got a first round grade. Again, he's got some problems anchoring down, but he is a very good pass rusher. He's quick. He moves well for a defensive tackle. Neville Gallimore from Oklahoma is one of my favorite players in the draft. I just love how he gets off the ball. Dylan Hoffman, again, what's the plan for the draft show? I don't know yet, but I'm sure an announcement coming up in the next week. But pretty sure I'm going to be doing that one for sure with the DallasCowboys.com draft show crew. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, now that I am on the Mighty Eagle 97.1, 2 to 5, Monday through Friday, obviously that means I can't go, on the fan. But we'll see. I'll probably know something in the next week or so. If Derek Brown falls to 17, you take him. That's from Marvel and Group. You take him. Shout out to Paolo. Skip, are you taking up painting for I'm not doing that. taking up painting for a hobby. Oh, he said, are you taking up painting for a hobbit first? And then he said, are you taking up painting for a hobby? I'm not yet, but I probably should. This year's day 3 gyms. Let's do it. I'll run through those real quick. Wide receivers, you could do a bunch. Keep your eyes on, he may not be day 3. He may be day 2. Devin Asiasi, the tight end from UCLA. I think that's a guy people need to keep their eye on. A guy I really like on day 3 at tight end, maybe around 6, Charlie Tuamapea from Portland State. He's undersized, but can go catch the ball. Not scared to work in traffic. Can block a little bit as kind of a get-in-the-way guy. I like if you could get to day 3. Cameron Clark as an offensive tackle I really like. John Runyon, I think, is a really good day 3 offensive center, offensive guard type guy. Don't really have any day 3 quarterback guys that excite me. At running back, I really love, and I've got a 4th-round grade on him, Anthony McFarland Jr. from Maryland. I think that's some of the best burst in the draft. And another, guy I would put there is Jermichael Hasty of Baylor. And what I would say about him is he didn't play a lot, and he's just got really good burst. And I don't know. I think he's a good kind of backup running back 2 situation guy. At defensive end, day 3, a guy that I kind of like a little bit at day 3 is Alex Highsmith from Charlotte, but he could easily go top 100. Maybe he's not day 3. Trevon Hill from Tulsa is a guy. Got a good length, got a good get off. I think he could be a good round 4 value. Defensive tackle, I really like Josiah Coatney and Benito Jones, 2 Mississippi State guys. I'm sorry, Ole Miss guys. Darian Daniels from Nebraska. But my really day 3 could sneak into 3rd round type guy is McTelvin Ajim. He is from the University of Arkansas. Put on some weight to move from defensive end to defensive tackle. And he's got some Malik Collins to his game. Get off the ball quick. Might struggle against the run, anchoring down. Going to need to put on a little more weight, get a little stronger. But the pass rush is insane with him. I really like him a lot. Linebackers, not really going to go there. Cornerbacks, John Reed from Penn State. Tiny guy, but I really like him. It's kind of a name to keep an eye on for a slot corner type on day 3 of the draft. And at safety, J.R. Reed from Georgia, I think can find a way to get to play. I think Julian Blackman from Utah. Again, we're talking round 5, 6, 7, but I think those are good solid players, in the draft for your kind of day 3, high 5 type picks. A couple more questions just came in. I'm about to end this thing, closing in on an hour. Lavish D, Kevin, we still need a swing tackle. What do you think of Sadiq Charles? Not in the third round. I think he's a day 3 guy. For Sadiq Charles, let me pull up let's see, I have Sadiq 4th, 5th. I have him the 5th round. A couple names I like over him are Hakeem Adeniji from Kansas and Cameron Clark from South Florida. Those are a couple guys that I like a little bit better than I think Cameron Clark's South Florida. Did I get that right? I want to make sure. The same team as Benny LeMay. Charlotte, sorry. I color associate these teams sometimes. Cameron Clark, Benny LeMay, Alex Highsmith, all of Charlotte. Cameron Clark's a guy who I kind of like in round 5. He's got a funky pass set, gets off balance a little bit, a little inconsistent, but what I would say about him is that he always hits his targets. He's strong in the running game. He's always pushing forward. And I think he's a very good run blocker who can generate some movement. So he's a guy you're going to want to maybe coach up a little bit on his technique on the outside, taking on pass rushers. But Cameron Clark of Charlotte's a good day 3 value at OT in my estimation. Philip Rivera, how long can we wait to grab a safety and them still be a starter? I really don't think this team's looking for a safety in this draft. I think when they signed Clinton Dix and they re-upped Darian Thompson to a cheap deal, I think you have Clinton Dix, you have Xavier Woods, you have Darian Thompson. I think those are your safeties. I really don't think they're trying to upgrade at that position. And then lastly, Texas Cowboy. I've been using rules for my draft. JK over KC, CD over JJ, CJ over JK, CJ over JJ. Disagree on any of these? Javon Kinlaw over Caleb on Chason. I think you take Kinlaw over Chason. CD Lamb over Jerry Jeudy. I have CD Lamb ranked ahead of Jerry Jeudy. So yes. CJ Henderson. No. Sorry. Who is that? CJ. This is CJ over JK. I don't know who the JK is. Oh, it's Kinlaw. CJ Henderson over Kinlaw. No, I take Kinlaw over CJ Henderson. CJ Henderson over Jerry Jeudy. I would take CJ Henderson over Jerry Jeudy. That's what I would do. But, oftentimes I'm drinking, so I don't know how much you can rely on me. Thanks everyone for watching. I just wanted to do this for a little bit and just kind of, wanted to talk about the draft for a little bit. Sometimes I miss it. So make sure that you check out the About Them Cowboys podcast on The Athletic that I host with John Machota and also Kent Garrison is the producer. We will occasionally have Saad Youssef or Mike Palucci on there. Obviously, the Draft Show on DallasCowboys.com, an institution that's been around for a while. Now with Kyle Humans, Dave Hellman, Jeff Kavanaugh, and myself. So please check out the Draft Show if you will. And please just stay tuned to @KTFunTweets on Twitter, on Instagram. And please tell your friends to subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can finally one day be able to do some fun stuff on there. Need more followers, though. That's all I'm going to do for now. Maybe we'll play some guitar later or something. I don't know what's going to happen. So there it is. That is the KT Draft Hour for 4/11/20. Rock on, everyone. Good luck.